Birthdays are my favorite time for self-reflection. It's a great way to look back at how far you've truly come along. Hello and welcome back to the Own Your Everyday series of the Being Meraklis Podcast. And this is me, Shweta Shivraman, your host and self-awareness coach. In today's podcast, I'm going to deviate a little bit from our usual format. I am turning 29 today, and so I'm going to spend some time sharing what I've observed are the 3 shifts in my life in the last 1 year and how it has impacted me. And hopefully it resonates with you and it's something that you can try for your next birthday. So, the first shift, moving from doing to being. If you know me even a little bit before, you'll know how much of a to-do list ninja I generally was. I've been so for most of my adult life. I constantly keep seeking new things to learn, to do, and my to-do lists are almost always endless, regardless of my efficiency in working my way through them. And eventually, all of this led me to feel constantly drained and tired. In the last 1 year, I've shed the side of myself completely. Instead of doing more, I try and just be, observe, watch and learn rather than be constantly busy. I was mentally prepared to achieve lesser as I made this shift, but to my surprise, I ended up being able to do a lot more and with ease and comfort that came from just being. The more I gave myself time to rest and recover, the more productive I became when I was doing things. The second shift, from moody to equanimity. I've always been extra sensitive. As much as I'm jolly and outgoing, I could easily burst into tears at the smallest of things. I'm happy suddenly and the next moment I'd be down in the dumps. Sound similar? Most of these had to do for me with external triggers. Someone would say something nice and I'd move up to the top of the world. Someone is rude and I'll feel terrible about myself and I'll constantly question everything that I did wrong till that day. But somewhere in 2019, I remember feeling that this was not sustainable, especially as a self-employed independent professional. I could not afford to keep wavering like this because it drew away too much of my energy. And worse, my productivity would go out the window because I would have to wait for my spirits to lift up so that I can get back to work. I took to journaling rigorously. Every time I noticed a shift in the mood, I tried to capture what led me to feel that way. I identified triggers and worked on things that led to better self-esteem. I learned to slowly detach my self-worth from others and started drawing boundaries for myself. Over time, I became a bit more equanimous, and that came in handy in 2020 because COVID took the challenge to a whole other level. But I've realized over the course of last year that you can be equanimous within yourself no matter what happens around you. The equanimity, that balance that comes from grounding yourself to your truth, anchoring your reality and aligning yourself to that center within you, so much so that you can be unshakable no matter what happens around you. Shift 3, from mindless self-talk to mindful self-talk. I've been my worst critic, always. I was that person who'd believe others when they criticized me but treated them with suspicion if they said something nice about me. I was that girl who would constantly ask, "Why do you love me? What qualities do you like in me?" in a desperate attempt to hang on to straws about something good in me. And when something went wrong, I'd free fall in mindless self-talk of, how could I? How am I this stupid? I never realized how much hate and negative energy I was throwing against myself every time I did this. These days, I'm very mindful of how I speak to myself. I'm gentle and loving in the way I treat myself. Even if I were to make mistakes, I compassionately inquire, what could I have done better? I extend the same compassion I would have extended to a friend or a loved one who did the same mistake. And instead of fixating on why it happened, I quietly ask myself, what can I do better next time and let it go. Which shift do you need to make the most in your life? Do share your thoughts with me on Being Miraculous across any of the social media handles. If you'd like to wish me a happy birthday, and if you'd like to do something, do make sure that you share our podcast, like, rate, comment, follow, subscribe us on wherever you're listening to us, and share it with your friends and family. Until we meet next time, this is Shweta signing off, hoping you have a fabulous week ahead.